Hello everyone, we're back once again. I'm Tim with Golf Cart Garage. I am a part of the Gearheads on Demand service that we offer. I'll talk a little more about that when we get into this episode. This is Tuesday, October the 11th. This is noon Central Time. If you're seeing me at that time, then you are watching me live. We are live right now on YouTube and Facebook. This is episode 63. We're going to go over got a short list of questions that we'll go over and see if I can help some people out, maybe steer them in the right direction. See if we can save you some money. We're going to go over these questions. We might talk to some live people in the chat. Anybody in the chat, feel free to comment. Feel free to ask a question. So let's get started. Let me check the chat. Looks like we got 𝗏𝘂𝗃𝗃83. Hi Tim, what's up? 𝗏𝘂𝗃𝗃83. Catherine O'Brien Freeman, hello Tim on Facebook. What's up, Catherine O'Brien Freeman? I think I may know you. Let's see here. All right. Question number one. I have a 2017 TXT FREEDOM E-Z-GO golf cart. When I depress the brakes, the pedal goes to the floor and braking is not good. Do I need an adjustment? I would say that you do, because you shouldn't go all the way to the floor. And there's two places for adjustment. Okay, there's an adjustment back at the brakes themselves in the wheel hubs. Now that is a self-adjusting mechanism, just like the old style in an automobile. It's supposed to self-adjust. If you'll notice when you pull your hub off, or not your hub, I'm sorry, your wheel, you pull your wheel off and you look at the hub, there's probably a hole in the hub. Well, that hole is to be where you can turn it and line it up with the star wheel inside there, the star wheel adjuster. That's an old term for the old-timey brake shoe setup with just brake shoes and a hub. It used a star wheel adjuster. That is there, that hole is there, so you can do some adjustment there to spread your pads out a little bit. But the other adjustment is under your car where the two brake cables come off of the brake pedal itself. There's going to be an adjustment there. That might be all you need. You might not even need to mess with the back. But it's two different adjustments on your brake system. Once you get it right, though, they'll like I said, they'll self-adjust. Let's see, number two. How do you feel the differential on a 2011 EZGO RXV? Well, it's very easy. You actually just fill the differential through the drain hole. You just put the gear oil in the drain hole, and when the gear oil comes out, when it starts coming out, just plug it back up and you're good to go. It takes very little. I'll tell you what, if you'll notice that there was a shape to the rear end cover, the differential cover. Well, that shape is because the big gear in there, all it does is it picks up the oil off the bottom and it carries the oil up to the top. There's not a whole lot of oil in there, but it's that gear that's spinning is constantly picking it up off the bottom of the differential and carrying it to the top. So it's constantly lubricating all the gears. But it doesn't require much oil to do that. If you look in your manual, they'll tell you how much oil the differential actually holds. But don't worry so much about that, because it's not very much. But you can check the manual and see exactly how much you're supposed to put in there. And if you have to, you can lean the car over, but I don't think you do. I don't think you're going to have to do that. Let's see, number three. I'm having a problem with my club car. With batteries charged to 50 to 53 volts, the cart shudders forward and reverse when the pedal is engaged. Please help, thank you. There's that word again. Anytime you say shudder or stutter, most of the time it ends up being a battery related issue. Now I understand that you said 50 something volts and that would be considered or fully charged for a 48 volt car. But that could just be surface voltage. You could have a battery that's dropping out and that would cause that shudder. As soon as you start putting a load on the car, it could be a battery, but let's just say it's not. There's some other things it could be. It could be a loose cable connection between your batteries. One of your cables is corroded to the point where it's loose on a battery cable. That could cause a shudder or a stutter. One of your main power cables to your forward and reverse assembly, you could have a loose connection. So it's either battery related or most likely it's either battery related or cable related. You know, something like that, or one of those cables. Let's see. Let me check, make sure everything's working here. That's good. We are on number 4. All right, number 4. I have a club car and the serial number is AG87. I have a 36-volt system. I cleaned off the terminals and everything was running great, but now the batteries won't charge back up. Prior to charging the batteries, the old batteries would hold a short running time charge. My biggest question is, would the old cables be the problem? I have read that the corroded cables cannot carry enough voltage to charge. Very unlikely that your old cables would be causing your car not to charge. The most likely scenario is that your battery voltage is too low to turn your charger on. The voltage in your battery, you have a 36-volt battery pack. The voltage in your battery pack needs to be around 31, 32, somewhere in there. All chargers are different, but somewhere in that range. It needs to be at least that high before it's even going to turn your charger on. So my question would be, what is the voltage of your entire battery pack? That's most likely what your issue is. Number 5. Just bought a 2022 Club Car Onward. Well, congratulations on that. Nice car. The suspension is super stiff. It has a lift kit from the factory. I think it's a 4-inch lift. Is there something I can do to soften the suspension? That question has come up over the years a few times with different cars. The customers complain. Usually it's the other way around. Their suspension is too soft, or they're bottoming out, and they have to put a stiffer suspension on it in order to keep the rubbing or the bottoming out from happening because of a 4-passenger kit with 2 people on the back and 2 people in the front. We always recommend heavy-duty leaf springs when you put a 4-passenger kit on your car. But yours is already stiff from the factory with that leaf. I don't know of any way to. There's nothing that I know of that will soften the suspension of a golf cart, unless it's already set up with heavy-duty springs, and you might go with standard springs, in the rear. That you could check on that to make sure they're not set up with heavy-duty springs. That could be the issue, that 2022 may already be set with heavy-duty leaf springs in the rear, and could also be in the front. Could be heavy duty. You could check with your club car dealer about that, or check with your manual and see if you can find anything out about that if it's set that way. A 2022, I don't know if they're set that way or not. They may have incorporated heavy duty springs just because of the fact that it's got a factory lift kit on it. That could be the issue. But nothing that I know of to soften it except for that. So if it's got standard leaf springs on it, the only thing you can do is you can just adjust the air pressure in your tires. Just lower air pressure. That's the only thing you're going to be able to do in order to soften things up a little bit. Trying to revive a 99 Club Car DS 48 volt. Batteries were toast, so today I replaced them with 6 new 8-volt batteries and cables. The new negative battery cable would not pass through the opening in the OBC, so I just went around. Is this okay, or should I do something else? The new cables and ends are larger than the old ones. That's another question that's come up over the years many times. It has a definite answer, and the answer is you have to put that cable through that hole in the OBC, or it's not going to work correctly. It has to go through that hole. Apparently you went with a larger size wire when you replaced all the cables, and that larger size wire won't fit through that hole. You got a couple of choices there. There's nothing wrong with going with larger size wire like you did, but you have to leave that one cable going through that hole. So what you could do is, and it's got to be connected too. That one cable's got to be connected. What's going on there is your onboard computer. That's where the hole is. That hole is right in the middle of your onboard computer. Well, not necessarily right in the middle, but it's going through the onboard computer. That onboard computer is taking readings off of that cable wirelessly. It's an inductive throttle sensor. It's actually taking readings off of that cable, and those readings help the onboard computer figure out how to charge your golf cart, or how long to charge it, and some other things too. How many amps, energy units is what they call it. How many energy units are being used on the golf cart? It's monitoring a lot of stuff, and that's where it monitors it from. So without that going through that hole, you're going to get all your car's going to be really confused. So what you can do is go ahead and replace all your other cables with the bigger cable. That's fine. But on that particular one, leave that one going through the hole and run a bigger cable around it, and you'll be fine. That's what a lot of people have done. But you have to leave one going through that hole. Let's see. Well, number 7, but I'll come back to number 7. Let me check some stuff here. Looks like we're good. Number 7. 2010 EZGO RXV. How do I know if the front A-arm bushings should be replaced? Well, if you want to be, you want to be proactive and just replace them every so often, that'd be up to you. But as far as knowing if they need to be replaced, just take a look at them and see if they're cracked or chunks missing out of them, because that's what will happen with those bushings over time. They get dried out and they'll crack, and little pieces will fall out, and you'll see missing parts of them. So it's just up to you. 2010, that's 12-year-old bushings, at this point. So it's very likely you could stand a new set. If you're having any problems in your front end, any slack or anything like that, you could get a new set if you wanted to. But other than that, just look at them and see if they're missing anything. Let's see, that was number 7. Let's see, number 8. Let's see. Looks like we got Ricky Smith in the YouTube chat. What's up, Ricky Smith? Thank you, Tim, for everything you do and helping us. Well, you're quite welcome, Ricky. Well, it's a nice thing to say, man. I appreciate it. I really do. Let's see. Number 8. I have a gas Club Car DS 2001. When you first push the gas pedal, it jerks quickly, then runs slow, then fast. What should I do? Well, if it jerks quickly on you, then you could have a clutch issue, and that's where starting it in neutral and watching your clutches comes in handy. On a 2001 gas, if you'll look, if you don't know this already, and just for everybody else out there listening, that might not realize this, on the back side of the forward and reverse lever, not on the outside of the car, under the seat, on the back side, right in the center of it, there's a yellow cam. You grab it like this, you pull it out, you turn it, you let it go, it snaps back in another place. Now you can crank the car in neutral. You can put it in neutral, raise the seat, step on the accelerator pedal, and watch your clutches. Now, if you have a clutch issue, you'll see where that jerk happens. You'll see that primary clutch just engage really quickly in the beginning. You could have a weight that's broken inside your clutch that's causing it to jerk at low RPMs, very, very low RPM. So that's what I would do. They should operate your primary clutch on one side of the motor. As you rev it up and you watch them, it should squeeze in, belt rises to the top. The rear clutch should squeeze out and belt goes to the bottom as RPMs increase. They should do the opposite. Both the clutches should work the opposite direction. As you rev it up and watch them, you'll see what I'm talking about. And if all that is operating smoothly, you don't have a clutch issue, but you're getting a jerk, so I would bet you that you see something abnormal. Number 9. Slow forward, 2004 48-volt DS series cart. Sometimes the cart runs good and forward from stop and then slows to a crawl within a few minutes, but never completely just stops. Sometimes it starts slow out of the gate. Reverse seems to be normal. Battery's good. Motor rebuilt. MCOR good. Solenoid good. Checked all wires for brakes, soft spots, and hot spots. F&R switch is new. Controller is the Curtis 3. Could that be my issue? Well, it could be. It could be your issue. You've replaced just about everything on the cart. So if you're confident that it's not a battery issue, and if reverse is normal, then I would say that it's not a battery issue. If your reverse seems normal, it almost sounds like it could be an MCOR issue. you know, that's going on there. But it's going to be, the reason I'm saying that is it's very likely that it's either MCOR or batteries from everything that you've described. It could be either MCOR or batteries. Now, could the controller come into play? Yes, controller could come into play. I've seen a controller that would be full power reverse and then half power and forward. Anything is possible with electronic stuff. I can tell you that. As soon as you say something could never happen or you've never seen that before, it's going to pop up in front of you in your shop. And I have seen a half power controller. So that is possible, but most likely I would be looking at the first two things, which would either be batteries or MCOR. But you seem to have that one covered, so could be your controller. Number 10. It's going to be the last question, the last regular question. Let's see. Sometimes my electric cart stalls when driving up my ramps onto pickup, but comes right back when letting my foot off and pushing back down. Other than this, it goes great. Could it be my MCOR starting to act up? It's a 2004 Club Car Precedent and the batteries seem fine. Well, my answer to that is going to be almost exactly like the answer to the previous question. It's going to be MCOR or batteries, one or the other. You need to figure out if your batteries are dropping out, or if it's your MCOR that's not producing the correct signal to the controller. So you would want to do, this is what I would do in your case, do a load test, maybe even while you're climbing a real steep hill, as steep as the ramp that you're stalling out on. Do a load test on each one of your batteries. What I mean by load test is you take your voltmeter and you hook it to one of your batteries. Hook it to one of your batteries and then go climb a hill, a real steep hill, and make the car stall and see what happens to that battery. Then move it to the next battery and see what happens to that one, see what happens to the third one, and see what happens to the fourth one. If you have 4 batteries, if you've got 6, you got to do this 6 times. See if you find one that's dropping out way more than the other ones, and that might be your culprit there. If not, then it's most likely your MCOR. Let's see. Looks like, let's see, YouTube, we got Craig, 𝗟𝗂𝘃𝗁𝘁𝗂𝘃, Craig 35, hey Gearhead, I have a 2009 RXV 48. Can you possibly do a series on, or tell us proper steps to replace parts to upgrade to brushless? Well, if you're talking about that 𝗟𝗶𝘃𝗃 system, you know, with the AC, this is all, everything's inclusive. It's very easy to do if that's what you're referring to. I don't know that they even have a brushless DC motor right now, but that AC system is pretty straightforward if you get the correct one for your particular car. Let's see. All right, that looks like it's going to be about it. Let me give a tip real quick. We're going to start doing a tip every week. Here's a tip: air pressure in your tires. Air pressure. The weather's about to start getting colder. Checking your air pressure in your tires is important. It's important in a gas cart. It's even more important in an electric cart, because electric carts are a little bit lower in power. So you don't want to be riding around on low tires because you're draining your power. Cold weather's coming, it's even more important. Your tires are going to start, the cold weather's going to drag them down. So that makes it even more important in the winter to check your tire pressure if you use your cart in the winter than it is in the summertime. But it's always important. Check your air pressure. Make sure that they're up to where you want it to be, because you'll be riding around on a flat and you not even know it, and then you'll get unusual tire wear. You're excessively draining your batteries because it's harder for your car to roll when it's riding around on low tires. So that's the tip for this week. All right, thank you, everybody. We'll be back Thursday. I'm Tim, by the way. I'm a part of the Gearheads on Demand service that is offered by Golf Cart Garage. The Gearheads on Demand is a service where you can schedule an appointment with me, or you can schedule a phone call. If you're interested in that service, click on the link in the description. It will take you to the scheduling page. and you can pick a convenient time for me to call you. You just pick out a time, fill out a little information, and then I'll call you at the time you picked. Or if you want to set up a video session with me, you have that choice also on the same page. You can either schedule a phone call or a video call or a video session. Video session is where I send a link to your phone, and all you do is you click on the link, and then I'll be there and I can see what you're pointing at. Sometimes that helps. All right, I'll see everybody Thursday. This is Tuesday, October the 11th. I'll see everybody Thursday at noon, October the 13th, for episode 64. The garage is now closed.